here's a couple things. One is that it's only the racial wealth gap that addresses repair. And so we do this work now full time in communities across the nation. Dozens I've been in personally. Black communities are not just looking at a cash benefit only, they're looking at full repair, a comprehensive approach to repair, which includes access to housing, business, education, health, police reform, clean air, and so on. We're looking for full repair under the 5 components of reparations. So first of all. Secondly, it is not only localities that are responsible for the harm. The conversation of reparations in contemporary history, in 1989, Rep. John Conyers introduced H.R. 40. It's languished in Congress. But that doesn't mean that localities don't take a first tangible step in doing what they can do what is possible. And we have seen, as you have just stated, Roland, that momentum has happened. In 2019, it was only Evanston. Today, there are over 100 cities. In 2019, it was only 65 co-sponsors in the House for H.R. 40. And the last Congress ended with 219 co-sponsors and yes votes for H.R. 40, a Senate companion bill, hundreds of allies organizations that support reparations, and more momentum. The movement is being professionalized by foundations that are providing resources, funding, and other technical assistance so that we can get to liberation and repair in the Black community. So again, I just simply think it's a false debate to say that local reparations is not reparations. I do agree that local reparations alone is insufficient. And that's why I am encouraged to see that it's not just states or municipalities, it's now states. Look at the great work that's happening in California, the great work that's been introduced in the state of New York and Massachusetts. We see counties beginning to have the conversation on reparations, more and more institutions and industries. The Academy has joined the case for reparations. And so like any other important public policy, federal public policy, when you think about school desegregation and fair housing and marriage equality and ban the box and even cannabis now being a federal conversation, it starts with a local spark, a grassroots leader, a municipal law, a state action, and then we get to a federal policy. And so I'm just encouraged and stand with all the other local leaders, stand with those that are working on local initiatives that we are making progress. And in Evanston, we are dispersing reparations.
Michael.
Hey, Robin. Good to see you again.
Hey, how
Congratulations.
are you?
I'm all right.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the documentary. For those that don't know, I interviewed Robin 2 years ago on the African History Network show. So it's great that this is paying out. I know there's a lot of hard work. Hey, when we talked, one of the things we talked about is how Evanston, Illinois did not have a history of slavery. And there were so many reparations reactionaries out here attacking what you were doing and what the city council was doing. Can you talk some about that, why you chose the housing vouchers as opposed to quote unquote reparations for slavery? And then also there was a 70-page study that was produced that preceded the recommendations, the policies that you all did. Talk about why was that 70-page study? Because you have so many hashtag cut the check people out here saying we don't need a study, just cut the check. Can you address that, please?
Absolutely. So first of all, it's important to know that one of the most important practices of reparations is that the harmed community, the Black community, is really prescribing what redress looks like. And it's important to know that the Evanston Black community went through a process in 2019 where we heard and by consensus moved forward with prioritizing housing. Now, as you mentioned, that report complemented the demand from the community. The report was done by Shorefront Legacy Center, led by Dino Robinson and his colleagues, and it showed anti-Black housing practices, zoning laws, housing policy that is responsible for stripping away wealth and opportunity in Black Evanston and is responsible for our current racial segregation today. I live in the west end of the 5th Ward. I served as councilwoman here for 4 years. It's still the most concentrated Black community, also most concentrated disinvestment in everything, least community amenities, no neighborhood school, no walkable access to healthy foods, air quality issues, deteriorating housing stocks. The list goes on, and our story in Evanston is like every other city in America, and that's why local reparations. But thirdly, it's important to know that this is not a slavery reparations. This is not to compete with the demands for H.R. 40. This is specific to the business and anti-Blackness of Evanston. And our legal counsel, our corporation counsel, Nick Cummings, and his supporters and his partners, including Professor Justin Hansford from Thurgood Marshall School at Howard Law School, came up with a legal framework, one that was viable, so that we could move past just the demand and the case for reparation, which we've been stuck in for so long, and get into implementation and disbursement. And so that legal framework was really key in us having a strong case, one that was withstand legal challenges, which we've had from conservative groups from outside of Evanston, from Texas and DC. They have tried to challenge our work, but our work is very thoughtful, it's very smart, it's careful, it's narrowly tailored. It includes a home rule municipality. We're using home rule taxes, so we're not using federal dollars that are being passed down and have to deal with blocks from other courts outside of Evanston. We are leading within our values. It is possible for other localities to do the same, and that's how we got to housing. In a long story, that's how we got to housing. The community informed it and prescribed it. The case for reparations was rooted in housing, and the legal framework supported a remedy in direct correlation to the harm, which in the case of Evanston is largely based on housing.
All right, thank you.
Hold up, everyone. Join me Saturday, July 22nd, 2023, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time for a free class preview question and answer session of my 12-week online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. I'm historian Michael Imhotep. I'm the founder of the African History Network and host of the African History Network show. You may have seen me on one of my numerous appearances on Roland Unfiltered or one of my other media appearances. This is a 12-week online course that I created. Register for the free class preview session right now at our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. In this course, we deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Now, you can also join us on Saturday, July 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for class number 4 of this 12-week online course that I teach. You can register for the full 12-week online course. It's on sale, only $80. Register at our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Or you can register only for class number 4 for only $10 at our website. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime, even after the course is over with. We'll look at ancient African civilizations and empires, like ancient Kemet, one of the original names for Egypt, Nubia, Axum, Carthage, and the Punic Wars, and Hannibal Barca, and the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC. We'll look at shocking archaeological discoveries that are causing the scientists and paleontologists to rethink everything. We'll look at shocking archaeological discoveries that are causing the scientists and archaeologists to rethink everything. We'll look at the lost city of Egypt, like Tanis Heracleion and dazzling Aten. We'll look at the Olmec civilization in Mexico and the African connection between the Mandinka and ancient Egyptians and the Olmecs. Did you know that the Washington Monument is an ancient African symbol of resurrection called a tekken? The Greeks called it an obelisk, and it comes from the mythology of Asar, Aset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus. And Heru was born of a virgin birth on December 25th. Evidence of this holy trinity dates back to ancient Nubia, about 3,300 BC. Why is Christmas celebrated on December 25th? Nowhere in the biblical text does it state that Jesus the Christ or Yeshua was born on December 25th. And what does December 25th have to do with astronomy? And what does December 25th have to do with astronomy? The Greeks refer to Heru as Horus. We deal with all this and much more in this 12-week online course. Why is the layout of Washington, D.C. a copy of the layout of ancient Egypt? We have to become history detectives and learn how to decode these symbols that are all around us of Africa and reclaim our history. Did you see the movies Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, The Woman King, and also the documentary series African Queens, especially the installment dealing with Queen Cleopatra VII? We deal with all this in the African significance and the historical significance of these films in our class. We'll look at the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors and the knowledge that they took into Europe coming from the Nile Valley region of Africa, which brings Europe out of the Dark Ages and into the light and into the next age, which is the Renaissance age, an age of enlightenment. The Moors are taking the teachings from the Nile Valley region of Africa into Europe. We'll look at the role that Christopher Columbus played in drastically expanding the transatlantic slave trade, and he helped to lay the foundation for slavery, racism, capitalism, and the exploitation of indigenous people on his 4 voyages, starting August 3rd, 1492, when he set sail on the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. This was later in the same year that the African Moors lost control of their last stronghold in Grenada, January 2nd, 1492. And Columbus is setting sail using nautical instruments based upon technology that the African Moors introduced. In this class, we'll look at 80 to 100 articles that I have specifically selected. We also will look at a PowerPoint presentation I put together that consists of over 200 slides. And there are 7 books that we use in the class as reference. You don't have to buy any of these books if you don't want to. We show you the text that I'm referencing on the screen. But we use books like Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization by Tony Browder, Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism by Dr. John Henrik Clarke, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence by Dr. David Imhotep, Golden Age of the Moor, edited by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and Black Star, The African Presence in Early Europe by Runoko Rashidi. These are books that we use for reference to document what we're talking about. We'll also look at excerpts of interviews I've done with some of the scholars as well, some of the historians, Tony Browder, Runoko Rashidi, Professor James Small, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, author of the book The ISIS Papers, Professor Kabahai Watakamene, Dr. David Imhotep, and more. Visit our website right now to register for the free class preview session that I'm doing Saturday, July 22nd, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. You can also register for the full 12-week online course. So why is all of this history important? Because African history and culture gives us our VIPs, our values, our interests, and our principles. And this gives us a cultural paradigm that we see reality through. It influences our economic empowerment and our political empowerment. We have to have a synthesis of all 3 of these elements, not just one of them. If some of these topics that I have mentioned you are unaware of and want to learn more about them, you want to register for this free class preview that I'm doing on Saturday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, July 22nd, 2023. Register at our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. If you want to only register for one class session, you can do that at our website for only $10. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch the classes anytime, so you don't lose access to that. So a year from now, 2 years from now, you can watch the entire course. This class is also PG-13, so you can use it with our children as well. And be sure to listen to my radio show Sundays 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the African History Network show on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF here in Detroit. We also broadcast on my Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. And you can listen to audio podcasts of the African History Network show. Wherever you get your podcast from, search for the African History Network show. Remember, right now, let's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. And I hope to see you in our next class. Peace.